Oh, well, hello there and welcome back to another little episode of All Together Now, Warframes, and today we are heading to Cetus, or as I like to say, Cetus, and we're heading to Quill Onkko. I did a whole Cetus episode, I did a whole Fortuna episode, I did a little duck, but I didn't do Quill Onkko because I hadn't actually got all of my ducks in a row with him. Now I have, and I am prepared to show you what we need to do to be able to rank up with Quill Onkko. And we want to rank up with Quill and Little Duck because they've got the good amps, man. They've got the good stuff and they've got the arcanes to go with it, and you know, loot. So shall we get into it? So obviously Cetus is right near the beginning of the game, so you may just automatically have done this, but you need to do Sire's Vigil first, that quest, and you also need to do the War Within quest to be able to access our lovely Quill Onkko. And the reason you need to have done that is because you're going to need to be your operator to access Quill Onkko's little cave, where he resides around the back of Konzu on Cetus. And I do believe you can fast travel to Quill Onkko once you've unlocked him. It will pop you right outside his cave though, so you'll still have to pop out into your operator. But failing that, you can go to Konzu and just go around the back here, and there's this beautiful cave. You can't miss it. Pop into your operator and then you'll find access. Now, let's take a look at the ranking up requirements because they are quite straightforward, but you might be wondering, where the hell do I get these items and these objects? Well, let's go over it. To become a moat to rank 1, you need 10 intact sentient cores and 30,000 creds and 5,000 standing. And to become a rank 2 observer, you're going to need 20 intact sentient cores and 50,000 credits and 22,000 standing. And to make it to the heady heights of rank 3 adherent, you're going to need 10 Eidolon shards, 100,000 credits and 44,000 standing. And to make it to rank 4 instrument, you're going to need 20 Eidolon shards and 250,000 creds and 70,000 standing. And to make it to the final rank of architect rank 5, you're going to need 30 Eidolon shards and 500,000 creds and 99,000 standing. And just a little word on standing caps. When you first start the game, you start with 16,000. Sounds a lot, but it isn't when you're trying to rank up. And for every MR you earn and go up by, you get an extra 500. So I'm a rank 32 essentially, LR2. I have a daily standing cap of 32,000. So we know to start off we need intact sentient cores, but what are they? Well, among others, they can be traded for standing and also they are needed to rank up. But very much like the Nama Isoplast here, they can be traded for 2,000 standing. The Flawless Sentient Core is a version of an intact sentient core and it's worth 1,500. You have the Exceptional Sentient Core, which is worth 750 standing. And then, of course, the Intact Sentient Core, which is worth 250 standing. So the Nama Isoplasts can be got from Nama Bounties. The Flawless Sentient Core can only be got from capturing an Eidolon, not killing it. The Exceptional Sentient Core can be got from just capturing or killing an Eidolon. The Intact Sentient Cores can be got from Eidolons, the Vomvalists, that you can go out on free roam also and shoot with your amp and get the Intact Sentient Core. They can be found on Lua. I'll just go over the prerequisites on the screen now. And also you can get Intact Sentient Cores from, I think it's Murex, mission-y type things on Vale Proxima. I haven't actually gone that far. That seems quite tough, and once you've unlocked the Lua Conjunction survival missions, you can get a ton there. But honestly, coming out on the Plains of Eidolon at night, you'll get a few. So now you have access to your operator and your very first amp, which will be the Moat amp. It's not very special, but it'll get the job done. Head out onto Cetus at nighttime on Cetus to the Plains of Eidolon, not Earth's night cycle. They are two different cycles. Go to the Warframe Hub and it will tell you the difference. It'll also tell you when it's going to be nighttime on the Plains of Eidolon. Cetus, not Earth. Don't ask me. I don't know why. Anyway, head towards the body of water, and as you can see, the Vomvalists have spawned in. I shot it with my normal weapon, and as you saw, it went into ghost kind of void mode. When they're in void mode, this is when they would get sucked up into an Eidolon lure, and you need to charge them up with those ghost mode green heads. It sort of tethers on and shoots, and we'll have a look at it later. But what you actually want to do to get your intact sentient ghouls is finish them off with your amp. So if you haven't got a powerful amp, which is absolutely fine, shoot them with your normal weapon until they go into the ghost voidy mode. Then chase them down and finish them off with your amp. Or just keep going with your amp. I just find at the beginning the amps run out of energy really quickly. They can get a bit irksome. But, you know, you do you. And just carry on heading around the edge of the water. And you'll find them, you will find them out on the plains as well. They'll start to spawn in during the night time. And obviously, if you can find the Eidolon wandering around, they'll probably be hovering around that as well. And you can do this indefinitely until you just get bored. As you can see, I popped my cave drive out. And I don't know if you knew this about the plains of Eidolon or anywhere, but you can fly or drive, or float, or hover your cave drive over the water. And I gotta say, it's damn addictive. I am going to end up doing a whole Vent Kids episode. I gotta practice. Anyway, so have a wander around the plains of Eidolon. I tend to go solo when I'm doing this because it's just nice. You can get distracted. You can do a bit of mining and fishing while you're out here if you've got that far and you've got all your gear together. And just get familiar with the layout and just look for... They do make a little noise, like a whispering noise. Ooh, bopping there, honey. Did you see that? I love the glitches. Anyway, yeah, have a little roam around. Free roam, no bounties. Just see what you can find. And there you go, some intact sentient cores for your wanderings. You can get a lot more if you stay out there for much longer. I was only out there for about 7 minutes. And then we're going to talk about doing an Eidolon or an Eidolon bounty. Bit difficult on your own at the beginning of the game because you need a good amp, but you also need a good Warframe build with good weapons. It's all a bit meta, I don't like it. But Vault Prime or Vault, very useful. On my Vault build, I've put it on the screen here for you to have a look at. I've switched out his fourth ability for Eclipse for this particular Eidolon because that increases your damage. And there are other benefits to Vault, like his speed boosts, but the main meta rifle to take for the Eidolon hunt at the moment is the Rubico or Rubico Prime. I've taken it, but I haven't actually used it. I've been using my Latum and all the Arquebex on the Void Rig, but there are many, many options. I mean, you could work on the Optical, the Arcoplasmal, the Buzzlot, Euphona, the Pandera. They'd all probably need a Riven mod to make them any good, but you essentially want a weapon that is kind of high damage, high radiation. The Eidolon is immune to status effects, so but it's not immune to radiation. And you know, you need your amp to be okay, kind of good to take down its first lot of shields before you can start taking down its limbs. It's a whole thing. My advice is go out with the experienced squads, watch what they're doing and just keep picking up the goods, picking up the rewards. We're going to be talking like brilliant Eidolon shards, because you need those to rank up the Eidolon shards. The brilliant Eidolon shards you're going to need to unbind your focus skills on your schools. And talking of schools, I have equipped Madurai for the Eidolon because the Madurai school gives a really good boost when you void sling. It makes your Warframe, next to Warframe ability, much higher. So when you do the Madurai void sling, the chain sling, and pop back into your Warframe, then pop Eclipse, then, oh my god, it just goes on and on and on. It's amazing. And then pop out and do your amp, and it's just crazy. If you pop out Void's shield and shoot through Electrifier as well, it just boosts everything up and your amp becomes super, super powerful. And that was my Void Rig build on the screen. Don't be jelly beans. I've been working on that for literally years. That's my very first Void Rig. And here, most importantly, is the Arquebex, the fourth ability guns with a lot of radiation damage. You could use this to take down the individual limbs in between taking the shields down, but I tend to use it just for at the end, just because of popping in and out of the Void Rig. And if you don't have Vault, you didn't start with him, you never got round to him, getting him, head to your dojo and go to the friendly Tenno lab. And then in there are the Warframe options, and if they've been researched, you should be able to replicate the blueprints. Obviously, you have to build the 3 component blueprints before you can build the final Vault version. But there you go, that's where you get Vault. Yeah, let's go and do an Eidolon. And as I mentioned before, there's a Warframe Hub where you can check whether it's night or daytime on Cetus. As you can see, there is a day cycle on Earth at the moment, and it's nighttime on Cetus. And then you head to Cetus, head to Konzu, and that Eidolon Hunt bounty should be available. Now, I'm doing a bounty because you'll get 1,000 Cetus standing while you're here for the rankings up or buying stuff. But you can literally just go out here on free roam, find the Eidolon, and get started. Now, the first thing you have to do with an Eidolon hunt, if you want to capture it and get those brilliant Eidolon shards and all the good stuff, is go and get yourself some Eidolon lures. Now, for the first Eidolon, which is the only one we're going to be doing now, you need 2 lures. As you can see, the blue squirrely whirly Eidolon mist has appeared. It's always in water. You'll hear it Have a look for it first before you go off. Waypoint the area. If there's more than one of you, obviously one of you can go and find the Eidolon, one of you can get the lures, you know? You need 2. Because they have 2 tethers each, and it's got 4 limbs. It's got 4 radiators, as I call them. And to tether it and to capture it, we need to charge these Eidolon lures up. Now, they're yellow at the moment. When we find the Vonvalis, the little green floating ahead, remember we want to send them into void mode. And when they go into void mode, when we shoot them with our normal weapon, they'll get sucked up as long as they're tethered. There's like a little orange line that tethers them to your Eidolon lures. It'll get sucked up and you actually hear it. It makes a very satisfying clunky noise. Now, because this is the main way to get your exceptional, flawless and intact sentient cores. I mean, there are Lua options, but this is the first available option to you. I wanted you to see the whole thing from start to finish without me cutting bits out like the raw uncut footage, but I've had to speed a little bit up. As you can see, I just did my void thing into the ground. The reason I'm hovering around and not starting work on taking down the Eidolon shields, which would involve me using my operator, which I think I'm about to do, is because I'm waiting for Vonvalis to spawn in, and they can take a moment when you're solo, right at the beginning of the fight as well. So I'm happily taking my time on this very first, taking his outer shields down. You can only take his first outer shield down with your amp, your operator amp. You can't do it with normal weapons no matter what. And there you go, there's a Vonvalis! Yay! So I'm going to wait for it to tether to my Leo with the little orange. There you go. As soon as it's tethered, shoot it with your normal weapon, it'll go into void mode and get sucked up. Oh, there's another one. If you shoot it with your amp and kill it, that's it, it's done. It doesn't get sucked up, it doesn't get used as, you know, nom-noms for your Eidolon lures. And there you go, the red glow, pulsating glow, means you've taken its outer shields off and now you can damage its limbs, kneecaps and biceps. I call them the radiators. With your normal weapon. And I'm using my Latum. The green heads, the Vonvalis, are great for getting your Incarnon headshots up. If you happen to have an Incarnon weapon in the future, go for it. This Latum, boosted up with the Madurai and the Volt. It's brilliant. Oh, by the way, when it pulsates and starts squealing like that, and it has disappeared because we haven't charged our lures up and we haven't tethered it at all yet, to save you being damaged, you just pop into your operator and go invisible and you won't get damaged at all. I actually didn't know that until recent times. I used to just hide behind Volt shields, or I used to like hot foot it upwards in my Arcwing in the old days. I don't know if that's a new thing or whether it's always been like that and I'm just a big old dum-dum. Still learning, still learning. As you can see, we haven't charged either our lures up now, so that's my next thing that I'm kind of hovering for. I accidentally popped an ally out while I was trying to pop my my energy recharge up, and I really do need to work on my gear wheel. It's all over the place. I've just got too much on there now. And there you go, another Vonvalis has popped in. He looks so menacing. And yay, we have charged up that first Eidolon lure. So now that we've tethered it, did you see that I void slung into the floor multiple times? Spam that button. Then I popped my Madurai first ability. Then I popped Eclipse on Volt. I think I did it right. I'm not sure if I held it down or not. And yeah, and as you can see, it all happens very quickly with Volt, with the Madurai and the Latum Incarnate with the radiation damage. And as you can see, few visual glitches going on in game. Not sure if that's just my computer or the game. But as we've tethered it, so one tetherlet has grabbed both of its knees. It can't disappear and then reappear, so it has to stay. And now we can just get cracking. We can crack on with the next phase. Now we've only got 2 limbs to take down. So I'm going to stop talking and let you watch the rest of it until we come in at the end. And we'll then do a little intact sentient core count. You can hang around after, and quite a few of them will spawn in, or they've spawned in and you can just take them down. And yeah, it's just intact sentient core sitter. As you can see, I'm still patiently waiting to charge up my lure. And I don't want to... I've literally got 1 limb left. Now, once that final limb has gone, he will go down and flail around on the floor dramatically, but he's basically trying to call in his Vonvalis at that point. Now, you do have a choice at that point when he's flailing around to charge your lure up, but I always feel like that's a bit risky because it kind of can be chaos when he's on the floor. But look, they're spawning in. It's fine. I'm just being patient. There you go. And it's charged. So now I am void slinging into the floor, pop my first Madurai ability, pop Eclipse. I think I just accidentally popped something else then as well. I think I popped a Spectre by accident, which is unfortunate. And I'm very mindful at this point that Vomvelists will be spawning in now that I've charged up my lures and we're near the end. Because, you know, the Eidolon wants to recharge its shields because us big old meanies, us nasties, are taking them down at a rate of knots. Not as fast as I normally would, but, you know, we're getting there. It's absolutely fine. Pulsing red, showing that his outer shields are down and we can now aim for one of his limbs. I mean, it is literally the remaining limb. As you can see, the others have gone a bit like voidy and weird, so we can visually see that we've taken the other limbs down. And as I got to this point of editing, I realised I had some tiny bit of corrupted footage. It had like paused in the recording. Obviously just too much going on my poor CPU was overrun. But I mean, I literally cut out a few seconds. But as you can see, the Eidolon mules have tethered to the arms and the knees. Head, shoulders, knees and toes. And I popped out my Void Rig, popped his fourth ability. Takes a second for it to become non-immune again. And there you go. It all happened very quickly with that Arcabex. I could use that Arcabex for its limbs if I was mindful of where my Void Rig is at all times. But I keep losing it and I get really irritable. Like, where's my Void Rig? I can't see it anywhere for looking. I haven't got time to be looking at the map. I probably need to put like a little marker on it or something. But there you go. Isn't that beautiful? That's a brilliant Eidolon shard. So we've got flawless sentient cores. We've got exceptional sentient cores. We're picking up a ton of intact sentient cores from the Vomvelists. An Eidolon shard. And I believe a brilliant Eidolon shard 2 will be in there because, you know, we captured it. We didn't kill it. And there you go. That's the Eidolon done. And rinse and repeat. I tend to on a night cycle. Oh, excuse the glitchy colours. Yeah, that's a visual problem with the Arcwing. It's happening now and again with mine. Not sure about you guys if it's happening to you. Please tell me if it is. It's not just me. And here are our rewards. But yeah, if I was grinding out Eidolon shards or brilliant Eidolon shards for my focus schools, now my focus schools are doing quite well, I would come out here back-to-back bounties if I was earning standing as well. And there you go. There's our rewards. And that was like 7 or 8 minutes of work, so not too bad. And I just wanted, before we go to Lua, I just want to talk about the focus schools. So you can be earning focus for all of the schools at the same time. I think you tend to earn more focus for the one that you've got active at that time, but I highly recommend doing Zenuric and Madurai. A lot of people will do like the Inaru for the Inaru Wisp, but this Madurai one is key to the Eidolon hunts becoming swifter and better. So nothing to do with intact sentient kills, but as you can see, the side effect of doing the Eidolon is the brilliant Eidolon shard can be used now for unbinding abilities from my Madurai school. Those waybound abilities, they're locked originally, but you can use a brilliant Eidolon shard plus focus standing to unlock it essentially. And what happens is it becomes a passive ability for all the other Tenno school ways that you ever use. And as you can see, you can also focus convert your Eidolon shards. There were synthetic ones, brilliant ones, etc, etc. I think you get the synthetic ones from the Murex on the Veil Proxima missions, which I haven't tried yet. And yeah, it just boosts up your focus for the day. It is very useful to get earning focus for all of the schools if you can. You can get different lenses and apply them to different weapons for different occasions, and if you are actively using, you've activated that school, you should be earning focus for it as well. So that was a sidestep, but back to the intact sentient cores. So if sometimes there are Omnia fishes available on Lua, they will usually be on the Conjunction Survivals. Again, you have to unlock these by doing the various quests I mentioned before, but I've chosen to do the high level Conjunction Survival. It's not a Omnia fisher at the moment, but hey, whatever. If you go to these Conjunction Survivals, this is basically where you get Varuna, but you will also pick up intact sentient cores along the way from the various enemies there. And as you can see, I mean, I was in for about 7 or 8 minutes and I picked up 2 intact sentient cores. You can definitely pick up more if you stay around longer, and I feel like the Omnia Fishers give more, but generally I wouldn't specifically come to Lua for intact sentient cores. It's much easier to shooty bang bang the Vomvelists out on the Plains of Eidolon. However, you don't have to wait for the night cycle at all to come to Lua and do this, so maybe, you know, in between, if you've opened it, you can phase between them. Depends how desperate for them you are. I am not desperate for them. I don't know if you saw how many I had, but it was in the thousands. It's getting ridiculous. So there you go. And you are witnessing now myself ranking fully up to Architect rank 5 here. May as well. Now I've ground out all those Eidolon shards, those sweet, sweet Eidolon shards. And I'm going to need a few more Eidolon shards and brilliant Eidolon shards to unbind the rest of my focus school. So I shall be out here doing Eidolon hunts. With that in mind, if you would like some help in game, please feel free to put in a friend request, put a comment on one of these videos, come and join us on the Discord. Lots of people hanging around there. It's not too intense, you know, we fluctuate in, we fluctuate out, but there's usually someone around to jump into game with, or even just in game if you don't want to chat. Just nice to have a squad that you can rely on. And there you go, we are fully ranked up. And I mean, there are other things to look at here. We'll look again into the actual amps themselves in a separate video. The reason we want to rank up, obviously, with Quill and Little Duck, I've mentioned it multiple times, is because we want those sweet, sweet amps. Now, just a little final word on the amps and the arcanes. Me, myself, and I do have quite a few of the variations from my previous playthrough on the Xbox. So I do, like I said, want to do some kind of video on the amps, but there's not much I use them for in game. I'll be perfectly honest with you. Maybe I can find another use for them, but it would be just interesting to see which ones are the best variations to do the Eidolon hunts with. But the 777 and the 177 seem to be pretty good. We'll get into that in a separate video. In the meantime, it's just really nice to be able to go out there and pay it forward and help the newer players or less experienced players out to just blaze through and get a load of goodies, and then eventually they can pay it forward. Because I got help when I first started to get some arcanes. I remember how excited I was when I came out with arcanes and intact sentient cores and brilliant Eidolon shards. I was like, woo! Oh my god, this is so exciting. And I haven't even mentioned the Tridolon in this video because, you know, we're just trying to rank up here. We're not trying to make life too difficult for ourselves. But in the meantime, my darlings, with that being said, please feel free, like I said, to come and hit us up in the Discord. Come and ask for help, or just squad up, because it's funsies sometimes with a bunch of people. Other times you just want to grind solo, and I get it, I do. But in the meantime, my darlings, I hope this helped you in some kind of way, or amused you, or, you know, comforted you with my dulcet tones in the background. That's what I'd love to be. I don't have as deep a tone as Markiplier, as I like to call him Markiplier, but I could work on it, you know. Anyway, in the meantime, my darlings, thank you for being here. I really do hope to see you again in the next one, no matter what that may be. But for now, you take care and goodbye.